you know. So
I can believe that. West Ham spent more than us in the last 5 years net spend. You know, so it's about how you run as well.
So that's all you got to say, Win. Just once you rub his back, will you?
Well, also, you know, the Liverpool fans were wanting FSJ out for donkey's years.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's all suddenly changed around when they've opened the purse strings. But no, the fact is that what's happened is the top 6, which was the top 4 at one stage before Chelsea came and gate crashed, and then Man City came and gate crashed, and they said, whoa, hey, you know, there's 6 fighting for 4 places now in the Champions League. Let's get this drawbridge pulled up quick. And they've manoeuvred all of the rules so that there can't be a 7th come into that group. That's the reality of what's happened.
Yeah, you're right, and it probably does point inadvertently to a Super League, doesn't it?
But knowing those rules, so we can get back into the Isak situation. Knowing those rules and how that's really can't really change that. I actually agree with a Liverpool fan in the chat that says that our club has failed us from finding loopholes like Chelsea does. They've done it, you know. So that's our criticism to ours. And by the way, we got no DOF, no CEO. Everybody's just having a good old party. Nobody's got a job or anything to do. So listen. My criticism to the club is very clear on that. But knowing all of that, it maybe is unfortunate for you, but it may mean the PIF says we can sell Isak. So betting on is a World Cup coming up. He will eventually get over it and play, or he might not, and that would be detrimental to the club, to you, because you don't have him, and and for him because he obviously who wants a player that doesn't play.
But also, what Ben was saying is slightly disingenuous, I feel, because what he was saying was, if Newcastle...
He's had enough win now, hasn't he? He's coming for me.
If Newcastle could spend unlimited amounts, if there was no PSR and we could spend unlimited amounts, we would just fill the bench with superstars, but a bit like Chelsea have done, you might say, a bit like Man City did when they did, and that would be the ruination of football. Ben... 'Twas ever thus. In the 80s, Liverpool, because of their success on the pitch, had more money than anybody else, so it could always come and buy the Peter Beardsleys off us, you know, buy the Kevin top Keegan. Talent from every club, buy the best Ipswich players at the time, and then
Kevin Keegan.
The baton changed
into the 90s, didn't it?
Cole went to Man United, and Man United became the super rich club who could buy anybody they wanted, until Jack Walker came along, and then he could outbid Man United. You can go back to the Bank of England club of Arsenal in the 30s. You can go back to Sunderland Bank of England club in the 20s.
Show your age now, Win.
And it's always been the same, and the league has never suffered. The idea that one team can come in and just buy it and turn it into a farmers' league has always proven to be nonsense, because there'll always be somebody comes along at a later stage, and also you've always had the established clubs who've got their... I mean, the revenue in football now is completely different to what it was at the time, but the mechanics are still the same. For to say that if one club was able to come in now and spend whatever they wanted, they could just buy that. I don't believe that that's possible to happen now. I think there will still one team can only ever have, go stupid, say 22 world-class players. That still leaves every other footballer in the world available to play for everybody else.
Not only that, Win.
Advocate. Sorry, Andy.
So, dead quick, mate. All it was is, let's say even if we did that for 2 years, and then the league tightened the rules up again. What it also would mean is when things are tightened up, we've then got valuable assets to sell on to then buy again. The problem that we've had is we've had no sellable assets, or at least we've not gambled on. I.e., when PF took over, we never gambled on. We've been terrible at selling players, let's be honest.
Well, that's because we've had a terrible academy for 50 years.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. If the purse strings were open for 2 years, we wouldn't just be investing in the first 22 players. We'd be investing in the best young talent in the country across Europe. 2 years later on down the line, when the rules are tightened again, we'd then be able to sell them players that we paid $1 million for 20, 30 million and make all that PSR profit again and be able to compete.
Which is what City are doing now, what Chelsea are doing now, what Liverpool, to a degree, are doing now.
I do agree with what Ben's saying. What you don't want, especially when the Saudis are worth so much more than everybody else, we've got to remember, if you add all the wealth of all the other 19 owners in the Premier League together, it still doesn't come to 20% of the PIF's value. So we need to put it into perspective. When Jack Walker was doing it, yes, he had more money for a short period of time.
Well, no, but here's the thing, though: is nobody's you can put. First of all, the PSR rules are as old as Mighty Win. I mean, honestly. So the money now is not the money at the time, So they're old rules. So you can adjust them to maybe just the club that buys the club for the first time, the first 3-4 years, they can invest whatever they want, and then they adjust to the rules, adjusted with the inflation and all that. But all of this is nonsense. But again, we move away from the Isak situation. How did this play out? That is because right now one of the ITKs on X, I'm not going to quote him, but one of the ITKs is saying, because this could be wrong or right, but they're saying that they have heard, you know how that works, that tonight we offered Isak $250 a week, take it or leave it, final offer. And but he's already turned down multiple times from what I see on the media, a new Newcastle contract. So how does this play out? Is the biggest question.
Anything at the moment. I don't think
that's a great suggestion. Andy's coming in there with the super chat.
And your bar and week, £5 there. Thank you very much, mate.
Take the team with the highest revenue, calculate their transfer budget, and apply it to the whole league. Everybody can compete. Nobody can abuse it. I'd be all for that, for having a limit for everybody.
There should be a compromise. There's definitely a better way of doing it. But I was just very quickly going to just play devil's advocate. What about is there not a tiny bit of concern that it might not even be Newcastle? Take any club for that matter. Say the wheel, the rules are lifted and anyone can spend anything. So let's just say Newcastle can say, right, we'll go and give Mbappe £1 million a week and a 10-year contract this summer. Then we'll go and get Wirtz, and then we'll go and get Haaland, and we'll do all this. And in 2 years' time, Newcastle have won absolutely everything. They're absolutely phenomenal. They're in the shop window of everyone, and PIF have done what they wanted, and they've put themselves in the shop window. And they're like, we're done now. We're off. We're pulling out all of our resources and funding, and Newcastle get left to rot because they're saddled with debt that they can't deal with.
Well, listen, I appreciate your concern in Newcastle United, but
no, I'm being serious.
What if there was a set of rules? What if there was a set of rules that created that only a handful of Premier League clubs would always, on a continuous basis, get Champions League and win all the trophies? What if there was rules that were created that only they had the major revenues and could buy?
That sounds fishy. Players? That sounds mafia type.
If only there was that kind of hypothetical going on.
Okay.
I mean, I think the problem is with the rules
like Bury, haven't you? And you've got clubs like Leeds who spent all that money on Rio and everybody, and then they got relegated, didn't they? So there needs to be
a what if there was just rules that you can't borrow? What if there was just rules that you can't borrow? That if you want to buy a player, you've got to put the money up front.
I don't understand why it's so hard to.
Hang on, that way, if PIF decided to pull out, which Ben is so worried about our well-being, what happens if PIF want to pull out?
I'm really concerned with
Exactly. So PIF decide to pull out. Well, that's fine. They can pull out because we've still got all of those assets to sell. That they paid for.
Oh, they could just look at the Premier League. Could just look at every individual club and see whether they're doing good or bad, and put limits according to the clubs that they're.
How can Man United be £1 billion plus in debt?
Yes. Yeah. Well, that we can all laugh at that, can't we?
Well, the reason we can is because they've got the revenue streams to service the debt. That's the way that works.
To make the minimum payment. They make the minimum payment, and then they just go on and keep on.
But apparently, though, I read the other day that in the Athletic, I think it was, that they're using next summer's PSR budget to spend what they've done this summer, because the talk was, because they didn't get Europe, Champions League, they wouldn't be able to spend a penny this summer, and they've gambled and used next summer's budget. So if they don't get into Europe, fingers crossed.
Thank you for watching that video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. You can watch more videos here. You can also subscribe to our following channels here, our extra channel for NUFC Talk TV, this channel, of course, and also to RCM Football, where we put Premier League content there. So if you're a neutral fan, subscribe to that one, and everybody subscribe to those channels, of course. Don't forget to smash the like button, become a member to enjoy better and more content, all access to our videos if you become a member. Thank you very much indeed for your support. This is Chris, the American Mag. I'll see you on the next one.